Good evening. It is 6:01. We will call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. We're missing Ms. Kelly, but we do have a quorum. And may we please stand up for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and see it symbol of perfect friendship among the United Cultures. Thank you, staff and guests, for being here tonight. Item 3, consent agenda. A, consideration. Do we have a motion to consideration to adopt the meeting agenda?
I make a motion that we adopt the.
Actually,
Oh.
I'd like to recommend that we pull the consent agenda and make a motion that we trying to get my words right. Take the consent agenda off and recommend that we strike the executive session off. I think that needs to be a motion that we drop the consent agenda.
We'll pull it. We want to have a motion to pull it from the consent agenda. And then once we approve that, then we can also then strike and adopt it with flexibility.
Right.
So we can do it with 2 pieces.
Okay. So I make a motion that we pull the consent agenda.
And do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, do we have a motion by Ms. Miles and a second by Mr. Davalos?
And then now we need somebody to make
adopt
a
it.
motion to adopt it with
Flexibility.
flexibility and to strike the executive session.
We have no need for an executive session tonight. And it was a part of the deal that didn't get removed. So we're just going to strike that from the agenda. And
Somebody just needs to make the motion and then.
Okay, so I make a motion that we adopt the agenda with flexibility and strike the executive session.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Ms. Linda and we have a second by Ms. Miles. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Now you have to do the consent agenda.
So we have to approve.
Yes, because
Now
we
we
still have the
approve it with the
previous
strike.
meetings. Yeah.
So now I make a motion that we adopt the new flexible
No, the previous we're done with that part. Now we
We're
just need to
number B.
adopt the
previous
meeting
Got it.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We're
that's
learning,
that's
I'm
your
sorry.
part.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's B, right? We have to do.
Yes.
Okay. Consent agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt meeting minutes of previous meetings?
I so move.
Motion by Mrs. Miles. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Ms. Miles and a second by Mr. Davalos. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Got that done. Okay. Item number 4, reports. Construction reports.
So construction, not a whole lot new from the last report. However, North Star is currently helping us get quotes for fire hydrant testing. And we're waiting for Decker for the next steps towards design. So kind of just waiting on them to help. For those who don't know, North Star is our, Jeannie, what's the name?
Our owner's rep.
Our owner's rep. So they help recommend to us people that we should use. And then with that, we get to make those decisions. So they play the middleman a little bit of going out and procuring these bids, and then we can make decisions based upon that information.
Okay.
The hydrant testing, that's not something the fire department.
That Chris is looking into as well, because the city also was mentioned that they could test the fire hydrants. And so we're still looking at that. It just,
The
That
fire
is-
department cannot test them. They don't have the equipment, and from what I gathered from the city, they don't have all the right stuff that they're needing for this stuff.
How frequently is that done?
It's, so what they're doing this for is, from what I've gathered, it's so, according to new code, these buildings have to have, fire sprinklers in them. So now they're trying to decide what we have to do to get fire sprinklers in there, because like the Realm Building has, a fire sprinkler system in there, but the city doesn't have the pressure to run that system. So now we've got to figure all of this out.
And is there a time frame?
Not that I know of right now, man, but we've got to wait on this and then we'll go there.
That's something I've never heard of us having to do before.
It's newer code, so they're wanting all commercial buildings to have fire sprinkler systems.
Even though they have an exit door to the outside?
Yes, ma'am.
which reminds me-
That's your new building codes.
Good to know. Thank you for that
Yes, ma'am.
information.
I would encourage you to look through the reports from directors. Middle school included a bunch of pictures of things happening in classrooms. So
They were good. They were great pictures. Including the cafeteria pictures.
So,
yeah, I kind of jumped the gun
on students report. Okay, and then board reports. Do we have any board reports? Not for me.
Well, I thought the trunk or treat turned out
Amazing.
wonderfully. It was a great turnout, a lot of community. And I had a great time.
I did too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Steph, for supporting.
And then the football game afterwards was fun. It just was a lovely evening.
Superintendent report.
So the first few things on the list is just kind of informational pieces for you guys. We received summative assessment proficiency report statewide, and it's not blue, but if you'll click on the underlined report, you'll be able to see that that came in from the Secretary of Ed. I'm gonna go ahead and change the color so that way. IPRA requests, we have several coming in monthly even. And so that IPRA information is kind of just for you guys to understand what information that we are able to provide and what information we're not, as well as Walsh Gallegos provided this, so some law behind that information. IPRA requests are becoming more and more prevalent, and it can be anything from every teacher in the district to information on a report that we've created or done. We've had several of them that we don't have any information, like we don't collect information based on that student population, or we don't have students of that population that we've collected any information on. So there is an option to say that you don't collect that data, but that information is becoming more relevant as people are creating databases for people to search. So they're able to do this and send us a request for information and then charge people to search their databases for that information. So it is very time consuming in terms of the information having to be provided. We can charge per document. However, a lot of the times now it's all electronic. So the fees are minimal of what we can actually charge. So I just kind of wanted to,
And they're taking that and making a profit.
and then turning around and making a profit, or they're filing suit based on that information as well. There is some legal firms that they take that information whenever you don't have that and they know the law, and they're turning around and filing suit based upon that information. So
So can you charge for time?
you cannot. And there's rules to it as well on, you have to respond within so many days. And then once that has happened, then you have to update them, even if it's taking you it could take you 6 months or more to collect that information. You have to update them in a timely manner that you're collecting information. So just wanted you guys to be aware that currently in our district, Jeannie takes those, and then from there, they go to the correct person to provide information, but she's the one who takes in those requests. But we are getting more and more of them all the time. And multiple school districts that I've talked to, that's becoming a more real thing, as well as our law firm that represents us even has one person who that's all that they deal with is IPRA requests. So
And we're just obligated to comply.
and we're obligated to comply.
So much fun.
So
Go ahead.
I'd like to go back to I missed my opportunity. It goes real fast on the elementary, middle school, high school, all the reports. Good job to the high school. That 99% participation on the SAT testing. That's awesome. Good job. So again, kudos to all the other reports. I went through and checked them all out, but that one really stood out to me for sure. So good job.
Accreditation monitoring, we also got information from the Secretary of Ed as well on, we've kind of talked about the accreditation process and how that goes. And the more information that we gain from them, the better we know what they're actually looking for when it comes to accreditation. So I have signed up to go to some of these to understand better what the nuances are, because I do think that they are changing every day as well. Whenever they learn that if you put on there that accreditation is for accreditation, people will do it. And so a lot more documents are now saying that you have to do it as part of accreditation. So they're adding to their information as well there. I do have information on board member compensation. This was brought to me, and then I included the policy here. I'm not sure if anyone is aware that you can take compensation based upon the board meetings that you attend. It's either $45 or $90 based upon the time that you spend. So if that is something that you would like to look into or we would like to consider, I just need to know we can put a process in place for that.
Okay. So it's $45 for 4 hours.
For less than 4
Less than
hours.
4 hours, and 95 for over 4 hours.
Yes. And then all the other travel rates still occur. So if somebody is interested,
I don't know who asked about that, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not interested in it.
I'm not-
high school math pathways, there are changes coming. With that, we have kind of just began to even look into this. This is something within the last month that has come our way. It's appearing that by 28-29 school year, we'll have a new pathway for our math. It'll be Algebra 1, and then we'll have Geostats as a class, and then Modern Algebra 2, and then the fourth class will still be a chosen class. But the Geostats is where it's going to change. So it'll be a semester of geometry and then a semester of statistics. The reasoning behind that is so that way students get that for SAT prep, but as well as they're pulling the statistic piece out of Algebra 2, creating more time in that Algebra 2 class. It's kind of the preliminary information that I've gathered. They haven't necessarily done a great job of providing information, and our biggest issue comes from the fact that math curriculum is what we're going to adopt this year. So we really want to kind of have a better idea before we adopt material, because that's important as we look at the transition to different pathways. We have to have that math curriculum for 7 years, and it'll be before 7 years that we have to adopt this. So just we are looking into this and trying to figure out the best pathway, as well as our neighboring schools, kind of what they're thinking about implementation on this. We've had 2 different information pieces brought out. This is mandatory that we all go to this new pathway, and then it's also been that it's highly encouraged and not mandatory, that they haven't passed it in legislation. So if they haven't, I would look for them to pass it probably in the spring, in the winter, whenever they do have legislation. We submitted our attendance plans on time. We also developed an annual student diabetes management report that we have to submit every October. 40th day has come to a close. We did have some SPED findings that we're going to work through for 80th day to ensure that we're meeting those requirements. Capital outlay, I kind of wanted to give an update on that. Our past capital outlay funding, we went out for track, the field house to be restuccoed. I'm not sure if you've seen the stucco on the field house, but it is coming off at an alarming rate in giant chunks. So, and then the one that we haven't got approval for is sprinkler system at the football fields, at the practice field. But the track and the field house, we are awaiting quotes. So we'll be able to get those started shortly. So that was from last year's money that we went out for capital outlay. This year, we're going to go out for freezers for the cafeteria as we prepare to move all students to one location. We know that this cafeteria will have to house all our students. So bigger freezers is a must in one location. Some bus barn upgrades where we can have our buses under shade structures, so that way better to protect them, and the ability to plug buses in when it gets cold. And then a tractor, the tractor we currently use for maintenance is having some trouble, so asking for that. And we on November 25th will go before them and ask for those things. Ag days at the elementary school will be November 25th, so that'll be exciting. If you have some time, Miss Juanita, we should see if we can't get you to bring your kids over on that day. They're going to have tractors, lots of different groups doing presentations. Our whole goal is to get more students in school. We know that we haven't traditionally had school on Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving break for a while. And so if we provide a really fun activity, then we may have more students participate in those days. And so we're a rather large ag population. And so we have tons of people who volunteered their time to come and present for that. State football playoffs begin this week. So we play on Saturday at 1 against Ruidoso here. It does appear that if we continue to win, we will host all games here. They all owe us a game. So that's exciting as we look for that. So that'll be this week. If we win again next week, then it'll be the championship game the week of Thanksgiving. We also completed our district-wide instructional material report. That report, we enter all of the instructional materials that we've purchased in the last year, provide information based upon which students that goes to, if those that instructional material is like the primary material, or if it's a supplementary material that we provide, and that goes to PD. Principals have completed walkthrough 1 for teachers, and they begin their formal observation 1. Our level 1 teachers have to have 2 formal observations. Level 2 and 3 teachers only have to have 1, but they can have more than 1 as well. So that's begun. We're trying to get some of those done before spring gets here and things get crazy. We have a district-wide PD that'll take place March 6th. We're excited to bring Kagan cooperative learning, focusing on student engagement, and it'll be our pre-K through 12th grade teachers all in one place, and the professional development is across the board for all of them. And it's just the difference between compliance with students and active engagement with students, and ways in which we can do that for all kids. So we're excited about having that. CTE track dual credit information. This information was asked at the previous meeting. So we have sent this information through the website, as well as text messages to all our parents. Students can take 1 class as a sophomore per semester, and then after that, they can take 2 classes per semester, and that includes any class. If one of our instructors teaches that class, it counts towards the 2 classes, or the one class. So that way everybody's on the same playing field, dependent on if we offer them or if the college offers them. There's also some more information, but for sake of time, I may present next month as well on that, because PD has some guidance as well that we've kind of gone through. We plan to meet for guidance on online participation before the December meeting. So currently, we don't offer a way for anyone to respond over our YouTube channel, that they could actually comment on public forum. And so we need to get that changed so that way people have that option. They don't have to be here in person, that they can comment. And so we're going to meet and make sure that we're in. I've looked at some other schools. A lot of them just provide like a Google form, and then you either call them or you send them a meet based on that. So that's kind of the way we're going to go on the website. If somebody would like to join and speak during that time, we'll have that option available for them. So we meet that compliance piece. HB 450 award distribution. This money doesn't necessarily come out every year, and it's not always named the exact same as well. But this is the money in which we do security improvements, career technical, maintenance and repairs of public school buildings for expenditures. So last time, I think that we did some air conditioners at the CTE building, and then some security updates with this fund as well. This time we received 500, I know it's 500,000. 535,713 from PSCOC. And the plan for that is the key card access upgrades, in which later on in the agenda that we're asking to be approved. As we look again for this kitchen to become our main hub for the cafeteria, for the kitchen to be replumbed, because we have a lot of pipe that is no longer, we're still working. However, we anticipate with a bigger load of students coming through there that the kitchen will have to ramp up that much more. So we are anticipating it needing replaced because it is cast iron. And then some camera upgrades to the high school as well. And then the only other two things, elementary trunk or treat was a huge success. Thank you to all the community, because it really was a big community event. And then our fire marshal will be in the district November 18th and 19th.
17th and 18th. Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
17th and 18th.
Yes. So maybe they'll come see you that day too. You know, we gave you the inside scoop.
Thank you for all the information. Okay. One minute, just wait.
Oh, we can go ahead and.
Business. Oh, no, sorry,
forum.
public forum. Do we have anybody?
There's no one on the list.
Okay. Number 6, business.
You go ahead and read that.
And then says discussion and approve of school board team building and strategic plan. Do we have a motion for that?
So
Wait.
you don't want to approve it yet because we're going to have presentation.
Okay.
So our first presentation will be by David Markwart, and he's going to be online at 6:25.
There he goes.
Waiting already. What?
Hello, sir. Can you hear us? Are you hearing us?
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, good. Hi, everybody.
No.
Hello?
I can't hear any of you yet, but
Are you hearing us now?
yeah, I guess I can. All right, good.
Thank you, David, for coming. If you would go ahead and get started on your presentation, all the board members do have your packet in front of them.
Okay, well, good. So, hi, everybody. I'm David Marquardt. I'm actually visiting friends in Los Angeles, so I'm not in New Mexico. I live near Santa Fe when I'm home, leaving New Mexico. I guess I would start with the proposal, and then we can kind of, there's two other things I sent, the desert survival overview and then the strategic planning overview. Hopefully you can just pull up the proposal. Just, real straightforward, 2 days of strategic planning, which include the desert survival to start with. A little more than a day and a half of the strategic planning, about 1.6 of the 2 days, 1.7. Traditional, somewhat traditional strategic planning approach. I'll go over some things that are different here. I'm using the technology participatory strategic planning agenda approach. It's very interactive. So that's the overview. Again, the desert survival activity is you pull up that sheet. That's it's just a great way to kick off problem solving and thinking about strategy and getting you all working together as a team, doing strategic thinking, because you have to do that to accomplish the task. And then it's a good reference point for the remaining day to have of what worked and what didn't work in doing that fun activity, fun and challenging. Let's see. So then the technology of participation sheet, participatory strategic planning agenda. I gave you an overview of what is covered in the 2 days. Essentially, the morning after the desert survival will be, looking at mission, vision, and values, and then kind of working through this process. Again, I'll see what questions you have in a minute. I don't want to overwhelm you with the approach, but again, just working towards some real action items over the next couple days, trying to think through, as it says there, contradictions, things that what kind of devil's advocate kind of stuff, and then working towards very specific action items. So again, I did this without any consultation with anybody in the school board or the superintendent, just kind of giving an overview of a typical process. But even after we're done with this, if you decide you want me to tweak something or revise something, I certainly can do that. I've used this process for many different groups, everything from Department of Health groups to Indian Affairs Department, with the cabinet secretary for the whole department. So it's a very fun, I don't mind using that word because a lot of the stuff can be pretty dry and boring, but it's an engaging participatory process. So, I think I could pause. It's 5 minutes, or 6 minutes already of presenting it. Certainly I'm happy to stop here and answer questions.
I think we were looking at the possibility of including more than just the 5 board members. Probably
Okay.
the superintendent and maybe administration, right? So I don't know if maybe we could get like a cost estimate on up to, I don't know, what do you think? 10 people, or what was your thought?
It really just depends on what we decide. Typically, we even open it up to parents. I looked at the last one. I believe there was like 40 people involved, Ms. Miles. There was a lot. The last one we had was from 2013 to 2018 was the last one that I found.
Who else is being involved?
There was
Well, that would be important to note, is just again, for sure, a bigger group's gonna require more input, it's gonna go slower, in different ways, just because of all the voices and trying to figure out how to be participatory with, if one thing is 5, it's a whole other thing, it's 10. 10 wouldn't be that much of a difference, but if it's 40, that's like quite a significant difference in terms of trying to make sure voices.
Just in me participating in the strategic plan a few years ago, I think 40 is
A lot.
a lot. Like, because like you said, I think it'll take, because you have so many different opinions that it's just going to be long and drag out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty unwieldy when you start getting those numbers like that. But we'll do what you want to do, but again, that's definitely is a different ballgame than 5 or 10.
There was about like 10 teachers, 10 EAs, an administration group, and then about 10 parents as well.
yeah. I wouldn't go for that many people, but that's just me. I think that's
Yeah, I think it needs to be,
maybe
we need to start
10.
small, and I think as we can take these bite sizes, we can slowly grow into something else, but for now, the 5, 6, and I don't know about the principals, that can be discussed, but, I feel like that needs to be the core group that at least we know where we're headed.
And we can, that's hopefully tonight we'll have some information, and then if we need some additional information based on presentations, then we can make that decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there other questions about any of the the different components that I shared? As you look at them, or
No, for me, I think it's just once you get in there, you just start learning and kind of going, with us not ever doing one. I think we're kind of just, yeah, it's a little bit hard to ask questions when we don't really know. For me. I think
We're good. I mean, we're good.
Thank you so much for your time.
okay. Let me know if you have other questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Mr. Chaps.
You have in your packet the cost proposal that I provided you. It's on the left-hand panel. And what you would, the process we follow at CES is we do have a community meeting, and I think it's important to hear from the community. And the subgroups that we invite to the community meeting include, I'd like to have 10 students that represent the entirety of the district. I'd like to have 10 parents, 10 community members, which could be business, part of the business, could be your legislative constituency that's a part of that. Board and administrators is another subgroup. There's 6 different subgroups that I visit with the superintendent. The board and the superintendent identify individuals that you intentionally would want to have at the community meeting. The community meeting goes about 3 hours. So, and I facilitate that process. Essentially, what you're asking the community to do is identify needs as the educational needs of the school district. So it goes by rather quickly in terms of the process. So you start out with a brainstorming activity where they give the ideas they have with regards to needs for the district. We'll divide up into peer groups, like groups, students with students, parents with parents. They then prioritize the needs that were identified by the large group. We then take a break, and it allows us time to sequence those needs that they've identified and prioritized. We then divide the groups up into stratified groups, mixed groups. So parents and students with the 6 different subgroups are mixed. They then take the work of the peer group and prioritize those needs. And those are the final needs that are the outcome of that evening's meeting. That then is used at a board work session. The board work session would be another meeting. That is anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. It would include review of your mission, vision, and currently you don't have core values, I noticed, or if you do, I did not pick them up from your website. So we would also identify core values. You can either modify the existing mission vision or develop a new vision mission for the district. That's up to what you desire to do. In our process, the board owns the mission vision and core values. And I also suggest that the superintendent and her leadership team be a part of that meeting. So it's anywhere from 10 to 12 people that'll be involved in that meeting to address, again, like I said, mission, vision, core values, and then you would set 3 to 5 goals for the district. And the board should own the goals, in my opinion. Then the work of developing, I'm sorry, I'm not going through my PowerPoint, but you have it. The work of developing the action plans, the strategies, and I call them key performance indicators. What are you going to use to evaluate the action plans to address the goals? That is left up to your leadership team. So I would come back in, have another work session with the leadership team. They would be responsible for developing that. Once they've completed that work, normally it's 1 4-hour session. It could be 2 4-hour sessions. Once they complete that, they would come back to the board. The leadership team would then present those action plans to the board. That would give the board an opportunity to modify or change or add to those action plans and strategies. And then that would be the final, that would lead to the final version of the strategic plan. I also like to do what I call a SOAR activity. That's strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. I like to do that with the superintendent and her leadership team a couple of hours before the community meeting. What that does is it gives you the perspective of this is what the staff values, and then you can put that against the community meeting. Is there a comparison of what the community identifies as needs and is the staff aligned with that same vision? But that also drives what you put together by way of your goals. Also, part of the board work would be developing guardrails. Are you familiar with guardrails? So those are what you have 3 to 5 guardrails. That's what the superintendent and what you as a board are directing the superintendent with regards to what the non-negotiables. That goes a long way towards being able to evaluate the superintendent against not only the goals plan, but the guardrails that you would establish. An example of a guardrail is the superintendent will not allow curriculum or instruction that is not high quality, student centered, or culturally responsive. That would be a guardrail, could be a guardrail that the board sets for the superintendent. So those are the non-negotiables that would be established by the board as a part of the work. I'm open to questions. Cool. So this process is not a 1-day or 2-day process. It's a process that takes about 2 months to complete. I also believe, and I would throw this in if the board desires, because I think it's important that the board also take training along with what the leadership team is being exposed to and expected to go through. We have a 6-year study going on with 13 school districts. What we found is the more effective schools in that study are the ones that the board has bought into 6 months training, board training. What that looks like is I would bring the person in with me to work with the board on the goals and guardrails. And then she would also talk to the board about how to set agendas. She would actually be tying in virtually to your board meetings, working with the president with regards to you state this was something that was in your role and responsibilities. This might have been something that you might have empowered the superintendent to do. So that type of feedback to the board, to have the board also grow in the process. Plus, it also keeps you focused on the strategic plan and curriculum and instruction. Questions that you may have.
So is it taking that long, like you said, 6 months or whatever? The
About 2 to
addition,
3 months.
2 to 3 months. So the additional expenses on that, what have you seen, like an estimate of like actual total cost? So I know
What
we've
you
got,
see there is what the total cost would be.
well, because it says down here, additional expenses would be,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So
so
there
just
might
like as
be,
a
there
lump
might be
sum,
like travel.
possibly. Mhm.
There'll be. So if I'm not the one doing the work, because we have about 5 other strategic plans we're working on. Kurt Steinhaus, I don't know if you know Dr. Steinhaus. He's the other facilitator that I use. So if he's involved in the work here, then he would require mileage to get here, maybe per diem to stay overnight. So those would be pass-through expenses that would submit receipts, and that's what you would be paying.
It's a lot of good information. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for
Yeah, thank
the
you.
opportunity.
So have until 6:55 until Dr. Romero is supposed to get on, so we can continue through the agenda and then come back if that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So item number 7, finance and facilities. Approve of September bills and payroll. Do we have any discussion or questions about that?
I move we approve the September bills and payroll.
Okay, do we have a second?
October, sorry.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Davalos and a second by Ms. Miles. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Approval of a budget adjustments. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve the budget adjustments.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Miles. Do we have a second?
I don't know what they are.
Oh, well, they.
I'm like, yeah, I was.
I'll second.
For the budget.
Yes,
I
second.
want
Okay, so we have a motion by Ms. Miles and we have a second by Mr. Davalos. All in favor?
to.
Aye.
Okay, item C, approval of access control safety system. Do we have a motion?
Yes. So I just real quick talk about that. You guys do have a copy of that.
Mhm.
And the total for that is $313,179. And the reason for that is currently at the high school, we have several doors that have sensors on them, but this would include all the wiring so that way all doors have a sensor. So at any point in time, these doors that do have sensors, if they're open, it's 3 minutes, right, Jonathan, that we get an email? 10, okay. Based upon that, if they're open longer than that, then we start getting emails. And so it just continues to roll in, like fitness center, if they're in there working out and they've got the door propped or whatnot, we know. And so then we can check on that. We've had issues where somebody went through a door and they didn't realize that it didn't latch. And so for security reasons, it alerts us to know. And that's part of the issue that we're having is doors being open. And we just don't know about it. And so this, for safety reasons, we'll be able to monitor those doors. And that is why the price is quite a bit more. We will then get new access panels on the outside. And then the system we currently use as well will change. And the reason that it's important for us to do this now is so then when we do go to a new build, we'll have a company that we're going to continue with and everything will look the same. And that way it's all the same as we go forward.
Okay.
Is there like a recurring cost?
There is no recurring cost.
Do we have a motion or questions or further discussions?
I think I saw the funding for this
Is the HB 450 the safety that I talked about briefly in the
Yes.
superintendent report, in which we got 543,000.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the updating of the access controls at the high school cafeteria, Lewis Gym Fitness Center and central office.
So we have a motion by Ms. Miles. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
And we have a second by Linda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approval of the New Mexico Grown Grant Award.
And this didn't really need approval, so I shouldn't have had an asterisk by it, but Michelle had applied for this grant previously and we received the money and we purchased the greenhouse by the ag shop with it. And we didn't expend all the money by the end of the deadline. And we left 14,000 on the table at the very end. And so we thought that the money was gone and we wouldn't have the rest of that. They have come back and asked us to expend the rest of it. So kind of just an update on that. So we have $14,947 to expend on greenhouse material. That way in the future, we can, hopefully grow. Currently cafeteria grew tomatoes right outside the cafeteria this year, in which we were able to feed kids quite a bit with that. So, and it was fun, and kids walking by all the time were excited to see what was growing. So just kind of keep that up and make that bigger as we go. So.
Who tended to the garden?
The maintenance man tried to kill it one time, and so she had to take their rights away.
Yeah.
She said to get rid of the weeds.
Yes.
Not today.
But not with Roundup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're no longer allowed to help.
They did that on
Well, I'm
purpose.
glad
They didn't have to
Great.
That really was a fun little garden project, y'all. And we always asked some of the younger little kids when they were coming from the buses if they wanted to help pick those tomatoes. That has been a really fun little project. And we actually got enough off of those 4 plants that we could supply the middle school and high school with some tomatoes. So that really was fun.
Well, if you can see Olivia around, she's great at pulling weeds. Don't let her lie to you.
That'll be better than some of our maintenance guys.
So we don't need to do.
We do not. It does not need to be approved. I should have just put on their discussion of, and it is in the bars because it's already been approved and they gave us the funds to go ahead and re-expend that money that we didn't know.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's exciting and will give us, I think now we have a better, at first we were just like, we want a greenhouse and we need limited stuff to go in it. And then it kind of rocked around and the time was up. And so now we have a better option to plan for more things for it. So
That's perfect.
That's wonderful.
Okay. Item number 9, personnel, new hires. Tammy Byers, elementary school special education teacher.
we are excited. Mr. Miller came out of retirement for us for a semester. And so he's decided it's time to retire again. And so I was excited about this. We had 5 applicants for this position. And we left it open 15 days is all. And we're able to get 5 qualified applicants too. So
That's good.
Awesome.
we're excited. She will start the first day of January for us.
And then item B, resignations, Jennifer Birch, elementary school librarian, EA.
And
And we have a letter.
yes, and you guys have the letter in the packet.
Okay. Item 10, correspondence, future meetings and events. A, correspondence, do we have any?
No correspondence.
And then B, future meetings and events, Veterans Day Assembly, November 11th.
So, I maybe marked this incorrectly. It should have been Veterans Assembly. It's breakfast with veterans, so it's from 7:30 to 10 at the high school library. And we have different groups to meet with the veterans
Okay.
for that.
Are the elementary and them coming over here, or they're just gonna be
No,
only for the high school?
it'll just be high school has, groups have put it together.
Okay. Number 2, Thanksgiving, November 18th. Number 3, Thanksgiving break, November 26th through the 27th. And
So on the Thanksgiving lunch tickets, will go live tomorrow.
I'm waiting on approval.
Okay. So tickets will be, tomorrow, first, people in the cafeteria will be 10:30 on November 18th. So that's the time that we'll start. It does take us quite a bit longer on that day to feed, because we do feed so many parents. So we did extend the lunch period. It'll begin at 10:30 with our littles.
Okay, all right. Today, how many she served last year, and it was well over 800
Wow.
kids
Wow.
at the elementary. That didn't include, there's not as much at middle school, and then even less for high school, but that was just elementary. And she told me she was doing 650 pounds of turkey.
Wow.
Not a turkey. And you don't know how much
Think of that
tickets
to
are
do
yet?
too.
You're waiting to see how much tickets are, is that?
The tickets are $10.
$10.
We're doing it through the Success Fund, and so I put up the campaign today, and then I have to wait for the approval for that, and then it'll go live.
Gotcha.
And we'll put it out on all the avenues. We'll send text messages as well to all the parents, because that does seem to do really well, is they get that information and can click on it, and then it'll take them to the website from there. So we're gonna continue utilizing that avenue quite a bit. And then our elementary uses Class Dojo, and that information, it's really nice, because it's anything from, the art teacher provides pictures of the art that's coming through, to we're having this fundraiser. Elementary school's fixing to have a turkey trot, so that's exciting. They'll have a little race there for that as well. So, okay, you're ready for?
Mhm.
I think I've bet things probably. I think people will show up early.
Hello, sir.
Hi,
Good
Doctor.
evening, everyone.
Hello?
Good evening.
You're hearing us okay?
I hear you okay, yes.
Excellent. Well, welcome to Dexter Schools.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Ready for me to begin?
We're ready.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Members of the board, Superintendent Pierce, and thank you for having me here tonight. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. This evening, I'm here to talk to you about hopefully the work that I'll hopefully get to partner you with when it comes to a strategic plan. If it's okay with you, I'm going to share, see if I can do that. If you. That's not gonna work. Give me one. I apologize. Are you seeing the presentation?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, not yet. How about now?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So, again, tonight, my name is Dr. Arsenio Romero. I'm honored to be here tonight, members of the board and superintendent. Tonight, I want to be able to talk to you about hopefully a partnership into where I can work directly with the school board for strategic planning and strategic planning with the entire community. Just a little bit about myself. Recently retired from K-12 education with over 28 years of experience. I have done everything from being a school teacher to a principal, to also a superintendent in a number of districts in New Mexico. And I recently retired about a year ago as Secretary of Education for the state of New Mexico. Currently, I am contracting with districts all over the country in which I'm doing coaching. I am doing strategic planning and working with school districts in a number of capacities, from small rural districts to large urban districts across the country. Just a little bit more about myself. I've also served as a university regent for New Mexico State University, and currently I'm coaching numerous superintendents and principals in numerous states across the country. In this work I've been able to do, very proud of what I've been able to do over my career, bringing increases in teaching and learning in multiple communities wherever I've been able to serve. So why do we want to do this work? It's important because this work matters for students. It improves teaching and learning opportunities for students within Dexter schools. And so some of the work that we will be doing together would be building strong board relations. This is an opportunity for you as a school board to even work closer together to build and promote unity, trust, and effective governance. But it's also important for you to be able to provide those clear guardrails when we're going through a strategic planning process. You have the opportunity to protect what matters, which is student success. And really what we do here is we limit the distractions so that we can only focus on outcomes for students. And in the end, we're able to create a strong strategic plan that really allows for you to align your vision, your values, and your resources towards long-term impact. So together, by building board relations, creating clear guardrails, and creating a strong strategic plan, what happens is that you build a district with purpose and clarity. And ultimately, a unified board with a strategic focus drives better outcomes for students and communities. What I'm going to be talking to you now about is really a set of options that is very customizable to the needs that you would have within Dexter. And so I'm going to describe really kind of a full menu of options, and then you all as a board are able to decide exactly what fits your needs specifically. When you think about this, in many of the opportunities where I've been able to work with school districts, either as a superintendent myself or working with other school districts across the country, you really want to be able to provide a transparent process for your community. You also want to be able to provide an opportunity for the community to be a part of the strategic planning. And this really starts with you as a board. And so this process can take as long as 6 months. And I've seen that work very effectively in many communities, but it doesn't have to. And again, this is an opportunity for you to be very customizable and to be able to fit your needs. But if I talk about a very detailed plan that we can work together over the next few months to build a strategic plan, it would really start off with a session working with a smaller portion of you as a board. In many instances, I am able to work with like the board president, the vice president, the superintendent. And this is a great opportunity for a smaller group of us to be able to start to develop what the next few months are going to look like by clarifying the purpose and desired outcomes, by aligning what the board needs most, by developing relationships, governance clarity and strategy, but also brainstorming key messages that we need to talk to the community about. And then really finalizing the agenda of what's going to happen next. What the next step would be is to really provide an opportunity for the board to get together to work very closely. And usually when I do this kind of work, it's over a 2-day period. What you're seeing in front of you now is a sample agenda of what that could look like. where we as a board would move into a board work session to really vet out what the next steps would be in working with the community for strategic planning. What you see here is an opportunity to really work together about what's the purpose of the board? What are the board dynamics? Us having really open and honest conversations about what the strengths are, what the tensions are, and what supports need to happen. But we also have an opportunity to talk about the why. Why are you board members? Why are we going through this strategic planning process? And why is this important for student outcomes? And then, of course, you would have the final say on what the agenda may look like, to be able to fill that out in the work that we're going to be doing with the community over the next few weeks and months. It's to be able to provide and have conversations about leadership alignment from superintendent to cabinet to school principals, and making sure that we are all aligned in the same work together. And in this, again, we are looking at our why statements, ensuring that we are having conversations about being student-centered, around clarifying roles and guardrails and lead with student impact. But we're also building trust and relationships, building unity and strong collaboration. And really, you have the opportunity now to really provide long-term direction for the school district by setting that vision and leaving a legacy of student success. And so again, we're able to really look at a board retreat where we now have the purpose of the why. We're setting up opportunities to have discussions around board roles and responsibilities. We're building board relationships. We're team building, and we're reviewing district policy, and we're communicating our needs and really drafting the first visions of this strategic plan together. On day 2, we will continue the conversations around strategic planning and communication. We're really continuing to have those conversations around guardrails and core priorities. We're aligning our governance and planning, and then we're having the conversations about the next steps and the commitments. This would lead us into the work we're doing together over the next few weeks and months. And what I've broken down here is really a set of phases that we can work into. And really, as we are starting to work with the community, and this would be classroom teachers, this would be staff, this would be students, parents, business owners, people within the community, to really have conversations with stakeholders and provide surveys about what's important to them, having one-on-one interviews and really looking at our data. This would move us into phase 2, which is really bringing together community forums, student and family panels, and focus groups. So we continue to gather information and data on what's important to your community. Phase 3 is really developing that vision together with you as the board, with the information we get from stakeholders and community forums, to really define our values, our priorities, and goals. This would lead us into the opportunity to work directly with our community to plan and draft a strategic plan. This would then move us in, once we create and finalize that strategic plan, that you would have the opportunity to continue to refine over a number of days and weeks till it's just right for you. Then it's the work to be able to implement that into each of your schools. Again, to make sure that our entire district is really moving forward together unanimously and in sync with each other. Every decision that we make has to feed back into our strategic plan. Every budget decision that we make, every policy that's created, it really creates a vision for us into the future. And then what's beautiful about this opportunity is that it is very transparent for the community. They're continuing to get updates. We're being able to provide dashboards and public reporting. The public is very aware of the work that you're doing and where the direction of the school district is going. So let me stop there for just a moment and see if there is any questions about what we have so far. I'm going to stop sharing. I think. And then I do have a couple more slides, but I wanted to give you all an opportunity just to stop there with any questions. I think the big thing that people learn about the possibilities is that it's very customizable. This could go anywhere from a 6-month process to be able to bring a community together And at a minimum, I would say, and I've done this with other districts too, where we do it at a minimum, a 2-day retreat that we bring in stakeholders, which could be teachers and members of the community, along with school principals and of course, the school board. So anywhere from a 2-day retreat all the way to a 6-month process, and of course, anything in between. But before I go on, and I do want to talk to you about some of those specific options, but I wanted to see if you had any questions so far.
So so the 2-day deal, is that usually just a 2-day deal and you guys are done? Or does that do you use that as a step off point to roll into the 3, 4, 5 month process, however long it takes?
Good, sure. So if we're talking about kind of the longer 6-month process, and again, that's even customizable too.
Right.
It can be done in a short amount of time. Starting off with conversations with you as the board about the direction you want to be able to move forward. It works wonderful when we actually have a board retreat, and that steps us off into the process for strategic planning for the community. And again, this is where we're able to talk to multiple stakeholders and really get input so that we have all the data and information we need before we actually start drafting the actual strategic plan.
Can you give us an idea of the cost of this program?
Absolutely. I'm going to go back to sharing. That's the last few slides that I have. I think. Okay, you can see the presentation again?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what it could look like for a, kind of that gold standard model where we have a pre-session and a 2-day board retreat, and then we move into strategic planning. And what you see there is, this is an example of what this could look like, and this is the 15 days. This is really where we're working with stakeholders. We're working with being able to build out questionnaires and surveys. We're able to work with multiple constituents across the community. And then, of course, actually having the event itself to build the strategic plan. And then we're able to come back and actually do implementation with the board, central office, and schools. This is really working with individual schools so that it really is part of their 90-day plans that they have created. So you're seeing here a total estimate. This would be for everything that, kind of we talked about here, that would be the cost of $52,000, but it includes all facilitation, planning sessions, coaching, and deliverables. It's all travel time. And again, the launch date could be flexible. This is a scenario 1. And I want to go all the way to the other side where we have a scenario 2, where we're looking at really just a strategic 2-day event. This is where we could bring in members of the community, parents, business owners, members of staff, principals, of course, you as the board, and really hunkering down to be able to develop our vision and creating really a strategic plan within that time. When we look at that, it's a fee of about $10,000. Again, it includes all facilitation, planning sessions, and coaching. Now, it's not just these 2 scenarios. We have scenario 1, scenario 2. You can actually create an infinite number of scenarios to be able to have something in between. So, for example, let's say that you're really interested in having the board retreat, but then only having a 2-day strategic planning event. We can absolutely do that. On scenario 1, I put in there an example of 15 days. It could be less days, which would bring down the cost. Again, when we have the 2-day board retreat, we can be very specific about what we think we need to be able to do to move forward so that we are meeting the needs that you have for your community. It can be anywhere in between. And again, I'm hoping what you take away from this is that this process can be very customizable to meet your needs. And in having those conversations between myself and you as the board, we can come to those decisions together. And with that, I'm going to unshare again. All right, we're back.
Thank you, Arsenio. You've given us lots to think about, and so.
All right, thank you, Superintendent. Any other questions from anybody?
No, appreciate the information.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all so much. You have a great evening and, don't stay up too late tonight.
All right, thanks.
All right, bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you, Jonathan.
We talked about it beforehand, hoping that everybody would work, and it worked good, so.
Yeah, it was very easy.
Yeah, that's great timing too.
We don't have to.
Efficient.
We can,
Tonight, right?
we can table it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to take a look.
Okay. Item number 6, business, discussion and approval of school board team building and strategic plan. Do we have any comments, discussions, or do we move into motion? On table,
I would like to make a motion to table. The discussion and approval of, school board team building and strategic plan.
A second.
we have a motion by Mr. Davalos and a second by Ms. Miles. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. And then we go back to item 11, adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Linda and a second by Mr. Davalos. This meeting has adjourned at 7:12.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you guys very much. Yes.
Mrs. Miller. I have about